Hey everybody, Eric Longenhagen from Fangraphs here. It's 10:39 on Sunday night. The regional Sunday has not totally wrapped up. Vanderbilt just went ahead of Georgia Tech with a grand slam in the 11th, Isaiah Thomas. So I feel pretty comfortable moving on and doing daily prospect note stuff. I think, took last week off for Memorial Day, so let's do like an extended edition of the Screen Record tonight. We talk through what went down in college baseball regional action over the course of the weekend. If folks haven't been following it, and you have the means to, if you have ESPN, like the Watch ESPN app, probably at this point a lot of the stuff is on ESPN2 and ESPN News and ESPNU, stuff that you don't necessarily need to have ESPN Plus to access if you just have like a normal cable subscription or something that includes ESPN. So this weekend has been unbelievable. There's going to be a bunch of 7th games in the regionals today when you're seeing this, so it's a nice thing to cut on if you can during the day. So let's go through what's gone on. The South Bend Regional, Connecticut, Central Michigan. Central Michigan made a great run at this thing, and they do have a pretty interesting, strong team. But Notre Dame's just got so much firepower offensively. Nico Cavadas is the draft prospect to know from Notre Dame. He's just a giant-bodied first baseman with huge power. He's got like 21 or 22 homers this year. He's had a bunch of them during the regional. Just some epic, like majestic home runs. Obviously, he's first base DH only type guy. If you were to see his, you cut on Notre Dame game, you'll know who he is instantly. But he's really performed and has gigantic power. So Notre Dame's moving on to Super Regional. In the Columbia Regional, this was South Carolina. South Carolina is knocked out somewhat early here, and so this Virginia Old Dominion game was the start of the finals. ODU is the one that made it through the winner's bracket into the finals. So this was their first loss here to Virginia, and so they will play a Game 7 tomorrow. From the South Carolina contingent today, Brenda Malone has had a pretty good regional. He's a draft prospect for 2 years from now. This is his freshman year. He's an advanced bat. He's not a big framed guy. He is, on paper he is, but just he's slight of build. Even though he's probably about 6'2", 170 or something like that. Kyle Teal, the freshman catcher at Virginia, a guy who the bat I really love, was a Northeast area code guy who I really liked. And then the opposite of him is Chris Newell, who's also a Northeast area code guy, who's like got huge power and cannot hit. So, but Newell's patrolling center field. He's pretty tooled up if you cut on a Virginia game. Geloff is the name to know for this year's draft. Max Kotia is another interesting, like hitterish second base type guy for a future draft. I'm pretty sure he's a future draft. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, 2020 was his true freshman year, so he's for next year. But yeah, this guy's a pretty interesting guy for next year, like up the middle with a stick, not a lot of power type guy. And then the Old Dominion as a team hits a lot of home runs. They took the L to Virginia here. Brandon Neek, 5 2/3, 16 strikeouts out of the bullpen. Just, long arm action, 3/4 lefty. It's kind of funky. Was upper 80s during the game when I caught the back end of these 5 2/3. I've been watching a lot of Squeeze Play, which is like the whip around show they do, which is fantastic. Mike Rooney is great. But yeah, 24 punch outs in 9 innings for Griff McGarry, who's got big stuff, and Brandon Neek, who's like a famous high schooler who's not really had a breakout until here. McGarry was eligible last year. He's another guy with like you'll see 3 pluses from him, but bad control. So a relief looking pro ball, but Griff McGarry's got interesting stuff. Kyle Battle, the senior Old Dominion's a priority senior sign, in my opinion, righty power bat. But I think it's Carter Trice. This is a freshman, second baseman, who's really interesting for a couple years from now at Old Dominion. Type things. This guy's numbers are really impressive. He's played the middle infield this year. Have had a good look at him throughout conference tournament play, and then again during the regional. Let's get to the. Oh, they don't have a season line for him. But yeah, hit 358 on the year, 14 bombs for a freshman middle infielder. It's pretty good. So this is a guy to know for 2023. He's not on my radar until entering this year. So Game 7 in the Columbia Regional tomorrow. UVA's got the pitching prospects that if you want to see some draft prospects still. Their arms, Andrew Abbott, Mike Vassell, and Mcgreevy are pretty interesting for draft consideration. I'm rooting for ODU. Gainesville Regional, Florida was knocked out of this one pretty early. They've had some rain problems, so they had a suspended game. South Alabama beat Miami today to advance to the championship round against South Florida. South Florida went through and was 2-0 against Florida and then South Alabama. And so, South Alabama's got Ethan Wilson, who's a good draft prospect here, corner guy, has mostly performed. Hunter Stokes has kind of been interesting to me for South Alabama too. The Miami team is really talented but young. Adrian Del Castillo is the draft prospect to know for this year. And then Gil and Terrell are power goofs without a position really, but they might get picked as well. Carson Palmquist, the lefty reliever with Miami, unfortunately they're out, but he's fun to watch as well. He got touched up in this game, but he's funky low slot guy with command. And then the freshmen at Miami, some of the arms who didn't go in this game, but Victor Medeiros, Alejandro Rosario, those are big freshman arms. And Yohandy Morales is what they look like. It's that frame, that kind of power, left side of the infield, and just some strikeouts there. So still very, very optimistic on the horizon for that doesn't make any sense. I'm optimistic on the horizon. Miami's going to be good for a while, I think. So they lost, but it's okay. So this is another one where this regional's behind here in Gainesville because of weather. Greenville Regional, East Carolina came back last night, was down 3 and came back late. And then beat Maryland today. So they go through. Gavin Williams, their ace, is a guy to watch. Connor Norby, their second baseman, is another guy to watch. I'm sure Norby hit again today. Short-levered second baseman, sneaky pop for a guy his size. 0 for 4 today. Had a couple hits yesterday, though. He's pretty good. And then Williams, the righty at East Carolina, is it's mid to upper 90s at its best, and it's kind of a relief look. He's in that late second, third round mix for me. I think just sitting here offhand, don't hold me to that. There's still a lot of board lining up to be done. But East Carolina moves on, and they're a pretty talented team. Austin Regional, ASU lost to Fairfield. Fairfield lost to Texas. Pretty chalky regional here. Let's see, what's the ASU postmortem this year? It sucks that ASU had the most talented infield in the country last year with Torkelson and Gage Workman and Alika Williams, and then Trevor Hauver, who's had a good start to pro ball in the outfield. All these good hitters, and then had 2020 ripped away from them. And then to start this year, they had a couple pieces of their rotation needed Tommy John. So the fact that they were a 2 seed in a regional at all is pretty impressive. This is Iver Drew Swift. He's a senior. Can really pick it short. And then the rest of these guys for the future, I do think there's an interesting core of bats here with Jack Moss, who I really like. Ethan Long had 15 bombs this year. Nate Baez, if he can catch, it's big power for a catcher. Hunter Haas is going to be a really good college player at least. This Joe Lampe, he's a 7 runner. Kai Murphy's a 2-way guy who I think is going to be interesting, just focusing on hitting. It's going to be about arms for ASU. It's going to be about trying to get more arms on campus, because the TJ guys are going to miss, even the ones that come back they're not going to be back at the beginning of the year. So then Texas beat Fairfield, they move on. So Ty Madden's a first round prospect to look for, pitching early next weekend. Fort Worth Regional, TCU eliminated. They were the host, and I think they were a national seed maybe. I know that the D1 rankings and the seeding is not exactly the same, but I'm pretty sure TCU is a national seed that would have hosted a super regional too. Oregon State lost early and then came back through and forced the Game 7 tomorrow against Dallas Baptist. This is the point in time when we might start to see some questionable managing stuff in terms of like prioritizing player health. Like this Game 7 tomorrow you'll see some guys go on like 2 days rest who pitched on Friday, I would guess. Some of the starters maybe. Like use their bullpen day basically to like come out of the bullpen, like to when they would throw a side session between starts, instead they're coming out of the bullpen in the game. And then sometimes that gets out of hand. Like it'll be a close game, it'll be late, and they'll leave the guy in for 40 pitches, or rather than 25, or stuff like that starts to happen. And then when draft prospects are involved, the discourse around that can start to be it's justifiably, abrasive. This Jackson Glenn guy, he's a senior who's, stats are unbelievable. I haven't seen a lot of him other than this week. You can see the leap that this guy made coming off of 2020. But, as many walks as strikeouts, he plays second base, he's hit for power, he's got 19 dingers. Like, this is a pretty interesting senior as well. I think he merits a visual evaluation beyond what I have of him to this point, and is, the TrackMan stuff that I don't have access to at the same depth that the teams do might be telling here as well. But as far as bats go, you're looking to cut with a guy in like an early round and then sign a high schooler over slot later. Like, this is an interesting guy to do it with, senior with big numbers in a mid-major, who performed this weekend in a high-pressure environment against better pitching than he sees on a typical weekend. I guess maybe that's debatable because so much of the pitching gets used. But yeah, Jackson Glenn's another interesting draft name who's like maybe a cog in a greater scheme to max out talent with some underslot, overslot shenanigans in the draft. Knoxville Regional, Tennessee cruised. Liberty's got a good little team. And I was rooting for them, even though like the school as a place is kind of dubious. But most schools are at this point. Like, they're all just raking in the dough at this point. So Knoxville moves on. They'll host Super Regional, and they're a very talented, well-rounded team. My guy Max Ferguson, who's had a really rough year, he's been better of late. And so it was nice to see. He played fine this weekend. I still like him. I think I've said this before, talking on this, whatever this is I do. I'm into this guy. It's an approach. It's plus defense at second base. It's a lefty stick. It's a projectable body. He's athletic. He definitely needs to get stronger. I don't know if he needs to be motivated or, like I've said before, like it's not like Tennessee doesn't have a weight room for this guy to get in. But he's definitely bordering on passive approach-wise. It's low ball lift, and I don't know. I'm into it. Like he had a rough season, and the reports coming out last fall were ridiculous, and he had a great short 2020. I'm taking the long view on this guy. I'd like to buy low on this guy if I'm in a draft room. This is another interesting senior. Fraser Ellard at Liberty was like popping 95s from the left side. It's kind of like tail and slider movement mirror each other pretty nicely, and that slider's got good back foot angle against lefties. Like, he's kind of interesting. But procedurally for like a senior was he's kind of raw. He's a guy who transferred to Liberty actually. He's what was the name of it? Landford? I forget the name of the college, small college that he was at before Liberty. It's why he's a senior. I think he might be a grad transfer. Tucson Regional, this is where I was this weekend. Friday, Saturday, I did not go back today. Tucson's great. It was great to be out again with people and like feel great about walking into ooh, what's going on with this? Crazy. That's been happening lately. I don't know what's up with that. Just being around a rowdy college baseball environment, like hanging with a lot of people at a baseball stadium free of worry, and it's definitely different than going to like extended stuff where there's no one there. But had a good time, watched a lot of intense baseball, and talked to a bunch of scouts and saw friends, and it was great. So let's talk about this regional. UCSB and U of A are the UCSB, U of A, Oklahoma State, and Grand Canyon were the 4 in the regional. Marcos Castanon is a guy who I really like. He DH'd in this regional. He can kind of play second base. He's had a bunch of lower half injuries throughout his career, but he hits, man. Like, it's compact frame. He squares velocity, gap to gap, a lot of doubles. Another guy who I'd like to see in like pro athlete shape and see what that does, especially in terms of like the soft tissue injuries that this guy has experienced. He's talented. He's a talented hitter, though. I take this guy on early day 2. This is another underrated West Coast bat, in my opinion. Marcos Castanon. And then, like Christian Encarnacion Strand, the third baseman at Oklahoma State. He doesn't really do it for me. He strikes out a lot. His peripherals are kind of scary. He definitely is really physical. He's got big power. Not a third baseman for me. I have him in right field, so he's not for me. Carson McCusker, it was nice to see him one last time. He's a giant, like 6'8" guy. Not really a prospect, but it's just fun to watch a 6'8" guy come into the batter's box and watch the crowd react. So UCSB, the big name is Michael Mcgreevy, who threw the other night. Was not into that. 93-94 out of the gate, and then settled in. Already by the end of the first, he was 91-92, and then he kind of held that through the rest of the game. Arm slot variation on the breaking stuff. Definite changeup feel. Didn't have his best stuff, and still pitched pretty well. But just stuff was down compared to the peak of this spring. This was the game that won the regional for U of A. So they'll host super regional games next week. I'll either have Southern Miss or Ole Miss down here in Arizona. So I look forward to going back down next weekend. I'm pretty sure, at least for a game, just to look at the Ole Miss hitters. I know Gunnar Hoagland's not going to be there. That stinks, but like, what are you going to do? As far as U of A draft prospects go, Dante Williams, center fielder, scouts like him, the fans at U of A love him. Fourth outfielder vibe for me. Jacob Berry's a guy to know for next year. Turned down over $1 million coming out of high school. Has had a big statistical performance, although all these guys have. It's U of A, high Corbett Field in Tucson is a nice place to hit. Brandon Bossier is another guy who had big-time numbers. Kobe Cato, I like. Second base, really fast hands, narrow build. It's like that contact-oriented guy who I think has a chance to come into a little bit more pop. I think someone was telling me, I think it was Bill Mitchell, was trying to explain this guy's trajectory to me. Like, he went from, I guess, no, here he is. He's been around. Just hadn't played very much. But you can see more walks and strikeouts. He plays up the middle. This lack of power, especially in Tucson, is a little bit of a red flag. But I do think there's more physicality in there than has currently been unlocked. He is a really narrow, skinny guy, though. But I think he's an interesting sleeper. Maybe for late, approaching round 10, maybe. I think I'd be into that. Tony Bullard is the guy who had the loudest regional. Just like a couple home runs and a lot of hard contact overall. This is a guy who performed okay as a freshman, then not great during the short and sophomore year, and then had big power spike as a junior in terms of the slugging percentage, but not really in terms of the bombs. So I like him. He's I'm not sure where I'd stick Bullard at this point, but he definitely made himself some money this weekend in the regional. Then the other guy to know from this one was Chase Silseth, the junior college transfer from Southern Nevada, went to U of A. He throws hard. He was into the mid-90s. Doesn't play great. They've taken away a split that he had at junior college that I really liked. And he throws a straight change now, and so, I don't know. I thought the split was much more explosive, an offering. The Lubbock Regional, Texas Tech is very good. This was like the most splashy regional in terms of names. Tech, UCLA, North Carolina, you can see. The UCLA guys, Matt McLean, 3 for 5 here. He's going to go good. The Mets had the most heat in to see him that I saw last weekend at ASU. The Mets picked 10th, so that's some signal there, in my opinion. The North Carolina guys, Justice Thompson, junior college transfer, got off to a hot start. Non-conference play, really settled down. He was really exciting to watch that first weekend because you could see, the body and the speed and power, like mistake, accidental power, and just has really leveled off. So I'm kind of off him. Soretti, the shortstop, is another hey, this guy's really big and strong, looking for a shortstop. Pretty interesting. Zach Pettway has that UCLA look, man. He's 87, 4 pitches. They all kind of have distinct shape. He executes them. Not a great prospect, but a really good college pitcher, and he shoved, man. This is a big performance on a weekend when you need your bullpen fresh, if you can help it. That was big, but it wasn't enough. Texas Tech, too good. Mason Montgomery, another draft prospect, 8 punch-outs in 5 innings. Lower-level draft prospect for me. Don't see, for how hard he throws, which is another, below-average fastball guy, there's not sufficient pitch execution, and athleticism for him. Jace Young, Josh's younger brother, he's awesome. His swing is super dope, and he's built sort of like Josh. Maybe he's a little scaled down a little bit. Lefty bat, second base. Swing has more power play ability at the same stage than Josh's did. He's really good. He's a good player. And then Braxton Fulford, the catcher with Tech, is another one to watch as they advance to the Super Regional. Catcher with a lot of power is Braxton Fulford. Nashville Regional, this one's still going on as we're sitting here. Vandy tacked on another run I can see since I left and came outside to record. But, Vandy is Vandy. I don't have a whole lot to say about Rocker and Leiter at this point. Leiter's great. He's not Steven Strasburg level type of prospect. He's just a very good pitching prospect who probably comes off the board in the top 5. I think if I'm picking in the top 2 or 3, that I'm probably more inclined to take one of the high school shortstops, Lawler Mayer or Henry Davis, whichever one is most likely to cut. Although at this point there's going to be so much time to think about it and discuss that type of stuff that I'm not sure that cutting is going to be quite as feasible. If you had the draft a month ago, then Henry Davis probably is the guy who goes 1 just because he's willing to cut the most. But because the Vanderbilt arms have fallen off, they're not ahead of him anymore. He's not taking slot at 4 or 5 to go 1 or 2 or whatever. He's not going to cut quite that much because he's probably just going to go 2 or 3 anyway or whatever. So yeah. All right. So Vanderbilt's going to move on and host a Super. Fayetteville Regional, Arkansas lost to Nebraska. Spencer Schwellenbach, the two-way guy at Nebraska, who's the Big Ten Player of the Year, 4 2/3 out of the bullpen, played shortstop the rest of the game. It's a relief look for me, pitching and, more vanilla offensively when he's hitting. So I get that there's a fallback option where this guy can be a reliever, but I don't know. The upside if he's a shortstop is that he's a utility guy. I don't know. It's not really for me. That's now, to be fair, I said verbatim the same stuff about Jake Cronenworth coming out of Michigan, right? So there's a caveat for you. This guy's right-handed though, not left-handed, so I think that's meaningful in terms of Cronenworth's playability. I think that's been helpful for him. So not a great offensive day for the Razorbacks. These guys have a Game 7 tomorrow against the Huskers, which was a little bit unexpected considering Arkansas is numero uno, and they deserve to be. Oxford Regional. This is also going to be Game 7. Southern Miss is good, man. Southern Miss is really good. The two guys in the middle of the lineup, Trimble, who, if I wrote a bunch of, I'm not going to go there now. Well, I guess I am. Reed Trimble, I did conference tournament stuff a couple weeks ago, and named him one of the top 3 prospects in Conference USA. He's for next year, 2022. Tooled up center fielder. His approach is a little bit questionable, but can really run. Big time athlete, power for his size. I'm a big Reed Trimble guy, and this guy, Charlie Fisher, man. 0 for 5 with 4 punch outs today, but this is another this guy hits. Doesn't really have a position, but he hits. He's draft eligible this year. Just one of those interesting positionless bats who has, as many walks as strikeouts, and this is the piece, the power, which is just sort of okay. For a positionless guy, you want it to be more than that, but this is a dangerous dude in the middle of the Golden Eagles lineup, Charlie Fisher. And he and Trimble together are a pretty potent tandem. The Ole Miss side, Kevin Graham is a lefty corner outfield guy with some power who I like. 1 for 4 tonight. TJ McCants, he surprised me. He was on the showcase circuit as a high schooler. You see him in the uniform and you're definitely into it. And then he's always been really raw in games. And this year he's turned it on, man. I've seen him play second base and shortstop. They put him out in center field. He looks fine out there, and he really performed against SEC pitching, and it surprised me. Hayden Dunhurst is another catcher for next year, I'm pretty sure. There's just so many players at this point. Dunhurst has a 7 arm, and he doesn't really strike out, and it's doubles power, but he'll hit 12 to 15 pull shots type guy. He is definitely a first-round prospect for whatever his draft year is, just on talent. So Ole Miss, threatened tomorrow by a sneaky Southern Miss team. I still think Ole Miss on pitching depth is a heavy favorite tomorrow, but Southern has a puncher's chance. Ruston Regional, North Carolina State coasted through this one against La Tech. The NC State group is okay. Luca Tresh is the big name prospect from this group. Terrell Tatum is kind of interesting too. I haven't seen a lot of him defensively. He DH'd today, and that was part of it. But he's a 4th-year junior with good numbers, interesting power-speed combo. Again, the defensive piece is a total unknown to me. You can see that his underclass years were not great, and then we had no 2020, and then boom, huge explosion in 2021, where he's these peripherals are not bad. He's pretty twitchy visually. The evaluation is strong, and just it's selling out for pull power. It's kind of crazy. He's got 11 bombs and just 2 doubles, but he does, and the performance is pretty good. So this guy might have some Pyrite vibe going on, but was definitely interesting to see what he had done this year. And I think Jose Torres is not really for me. Although, among the college shortstops, if you want a college shortstop, a guy who can actually play there in pro ball, then he's moving up your board. But I don't think he's going to do anything with the bat. His approach is not great. And then Luca Tresh is the name for earlier. All right, so North Carolina State coasted. Oh, I want to talk about some Louisiana Tech guys though. All right, so Parker Bates. I dig this guy. Let's see if we can. All right, Parker Bates. Here's another senior. So, I don't know. He's just a good, well-rounded player. It's a lefty stick. He's short to the ball. He's got power. The ratios are good. They have been for his career. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about this guy's story, but another interesting senior sign. It makes sense that there were a lot of these guys. What do I do? It makes sense that there were a lot of these guys, given that 2020 is what it was, right? And a bunch of guys came back to school who otherwise wouldn't have because we only had a 5-round draft. I don't know what the new limit on roster spots in the minor leagues does to the senior sign. I don't know. I hope these guys find a way to play because they're good baseball players. So Irvine came back against Stanford to force another game tomorrow. Irvine's very good. Church is great. I'm a big fan of Church. Why am I blanking on his name? It's not Ryan Church, is it? Like, that's why. Is it Mark Church? First names in the box scores would be good. No, Mark Church is the Rangers guy I saw. What is this guy's name? Is it Matthew Church? I've watched a lot of Irvine this year, and I'm only goofing because Ryan Church used to play in the big leagues, and I recently saw Mark Church. But this guy's good, and I think he's another like legit draft prospect, underrated West Coast bat. So Game 7 tomorrow. I'm rooting for Irvine. Eugene Regional, another one that's going to Game 7. LSU and Oregon. LSU lost their first game and then came through the losers bracket. Dylan Cruz, 2023 top prospect, 3 for 3, corner power bat, speed, arm strength. Like, he's really good. Definitely has a little bit of Trout. Like, the body is the same. Some of the swing posture stuff is the same. The secondary skills that Trout has that makes him the best player maybe ever. Cruz does not have that stuff. Clearly, he doesn't. He is really, really talented. And there are some Troutiness things about him. Aaron Zavala is the draft prospect from Oregon. Is probably like a second round guy. Another like lefty strength, performed. Like underrated West Coast power bat. And the Ducks. Yeah, the Ducks and LSU tomorrow, Game 7. It should be good. Most of the LSU guys are familiar with that, except for the freshmen. So the Oregon guys are not. It'll be interesting to see how that works. This Starkville Regional is a wash. They only played the one game today because of weather, so they're going to play a couple games tomorrow. So I'm just going to skip that, and then that's going to do it for the college. So actually, College World Series. Let's see. Let's see if we can look at the bracket here, because they have a pretty sweet bracket on the NCAA website. So you guys can see the matchups. All right, so they don't reseed, right? So the Super Regionals. So North Carolina State will play the winner of Arkansas, Nebraska. Texas will play this winner of South Florida and South Alabama. So just the way, I don't know. This is. I wonder if Texas is vulnerable for upset, but I don't know. Maybe their pitching. I think is deep enough that they can deal with. I mean, the regional is probably tougher and tests your pitching depth than a best of 3 in the Super. But I don't know. I think both these teams are talented and have a shot to go to Omaha because of that. But Texas is still pretty strong, even though Ty Madden hasn't been quite as crisp. Either of these teams I also think can tussle with Tech, but Tech is very good. And then Notre Dame, Mississippi State, if it comes to that, which I think it will, is going to be a brouhaha, man, because Notre Dame can hit. So I think that this is going to be a contentious Super Regional as well. We don't have either participant for this one, with 2 Game 7s tomorrow. Then as I said, either Ole Miss or Southern will come to Tucson, and without Gunnar Hoagland, U of A can hit, man. So you're facing Silseth in Game 1, and TJ Nichols is a big weapon out of the bullpen. If that's how they chose to use him this weekend. So freshman TJ Nichols with U of A, big arm, 97, with an okay slider. That's a big weapon out of the bullpen in college baseball. And then Vandy versus East Carolina, you see. And then Tennessee. Tennessee's, I've underrated them, I think, as a team in college. They're very good. They don't have big draft guys the way that, Vandy does. Even really in the way, Mississippi State, U of A, and Texas Tech do. They're just a well-rounded team. And here they are. And I think that they're ahead. Oh, Hold on. All right. Sorry for the cut. I think I heard Archie get in a fight. All right. It seemed brief, so hopefully he's fine. All right. So anyway, check out the college stuff. It's good. And at some point soon, the draft rankings at the site will be updated. But I've got my last couple pro lists to do here after Anaheim. I've got Oakland, Milwaukee, and Chicago left, and then I'm done. And we'll move on to draft stuff between now and over the next month, basically, until the draft, and then I will chill out for a little bit. All right, so let's do our minor league box scores here. It's Sunday, so everyone was playing. Reminder that we have a unique minor league leaderboard on Fangraphs, where you can come here and look at the scouting stuff on the site for the pro guys for sure, via the scouting section of the board, which is taking a long time to load right now because I'm outside and further away from the old Wi-Fi, I guess. There we go. Basic geographic or biographical information on the players, signing bonus amounts, tool grades. You can read the scouting reports from the prospect lists via the board by clicking the clipboard. You can watch video of the prospect by clicking the little TV button, and it's a cool tool. And then you can mix the scouting piece with the stats if you want. This suite of pretty basic but relevant stats for hitters and pitchers, and then I also have the old minor league stats only leaderboard, and we've got swinging strike rate for minor leaguers, and look at these guys who aren't swinging and missing at all. They become interesting for whatever it is. Like, you can go through here and you can make custom reports and stuff like that for minor leaguers that you want to follow. So come play with the board. It's a tool that we built. That's yeah. All right. Minor league box scores. Boo. All right, St. Paul and Louisville. This is Twins and Reds. Everyone's pitching depth is being tested by injuries right now. Nothing really going on here. St. Paul is hovering around 500. Man, Aristidis Aquino, super hot for that little bit, wasn't he? So there's Alejo Lopez, who you just saw on the towards the bottom of the swinging strike. Percentage rate in all the minors. Joey Votto rehabbing. Alejo's 25, so I'm a little bit skeptical, but he's probably worth revisiting here soon. Just 3 games here from Aristidis Aquino. Coming back from injury, I assume. Rehab assignment, left hamate fracture, so he's an interesting piece for them, who's this old. What's going on with his roster resource stuff for options and stuff? Let me take a peek at this on the roster resource page. So Aquino has no options left. He's rehabbing. Winker's on fire. Castellanos is Castellanos. Yeah, do you try to shoehorn someone into center field? One of the guys who can actually hit, do you just kind of cut bait on defense and center field in favor of playing an offensive player? Naquin's not performing, is he? I know Akiyama struggled. They have all these fringe, can kind of play center field types on the active roster. All right, so I guess Naquin is performing. It's hard to move him out of the lineup when he's hitting the way he is. Akiyama is not. And then Heineman, I think at least Aquino should be someone who you consider hitting for Naquin late or against the lefty. But I think that it's pretty safe to assume that based on the way these 3 guys are performing, that when Aquino is ready, that he'll be up, and one of these guys, I would suspect Mark Payton, heads back down. All right, let's move on. Anyone pitch well in this game? Osich, yes, Sionel Perez, De Leon. Sunday's getaway day, so hitters hit like that. Rochester and Worcester, this is the Nationals and the Red Sox. Franchi Cordero down here, 2 for 4 with 2 doubles. Okay. Luis Garcia, 3 for 5. Would like to see him back in the big league soon. Not a prospect anymore, but still a good player. Syracuse and Buffalo. Let's move on. Rochester, 10 and 20. Even though there are a bunch of ex-top 100 prospects at the top of their order. Buffalo and Syracuse. Okay, not a lot going on here. Khalil Lee hitting towards the bottom of the lineup. You know, like, I kind of thought Khalil Lee's strikeouts would be... I still 45'd him thinking, hey, he's going to walk a lot. There's power. It's from the left side. Runs pretty well. Utility there. I'm just going to 45 him. Like, it seems like a fourth outfielder, basically. What that means today, anyway. In that sense. And he just might not hit enough at all. So, Kevin Biggio down here, 1 for 4. Homered. I might need to grab water. It's been a while since I did this. Okay, TJ Zoich coming out of the bullpen, 7 strong innings, just 1 strikeout, but 1 earned in 7 for Zoich. Like Zoich, Jacksonville, and Gwinnett. All right, Drew Waters hitting 263. Let's see where that's at overall at this point. Jastiel De La Cruz, 6 strikeouts. Gave up a bunch of runs, still a reliever for me. There's Yohan Lopez, came over from the D-backs in a trade. Trying to fix him. Brian Miller, 3 for 5, but only hitting $182, so he's not a candidate for the notes. Parker Bug, Fishman, Jake Fishman, right? This guy's been on the radar before for performance. Older guy. You can see 2019, the numbers were pretty good. Only 18 walks in 62 innings, 74 strikeouts. 20 strikeouts against 3 walks in 15 innings so far, all out of the bullpen. He's 26, but he's doing it at AAA. So that's maybe a name to stash away. I'm just going to leave him there just to remind myself to... I don't have my rolling notes sheet to add his name to right now. I'm just going to press on. So Drew Waters, 260, 360, 415. Maybe not the power that you'll want. 34 punch-outs in 110 plate appearances. A little bit concerning. 7 steals, 5 caught stealing. That's, you know, strikes me as a guy who's not going to have a green light at the big league level. He is a 22-year-old at AAA, though. So just to check in on Drew Waters, who I think is a pretty volatile prospect. Lehigh Valley and Scranton and Wilkes-Barre. The Pigs are 2 games over. Scranton really playing well. Hoyjun Park, 2 for 3 with a bomb, hitting 370. Florial hitting $167. Yep, told you. I mean, I told you a couple years too late, like, you know, but like, I gave up hope on this guy. Here's the Yankees list, came out in February, and Florial is just down here, and the 35 plus is like, hey, this guy's got big tools. I just think he's not going to hit. But here's Gittins, and he's up now. So arguably, like, if I really want to be right, Gittins should have just been ahead of this guy because he has actual feel to hit. But yeah. So Hoyjun Park, kind of doing it right now, man. Look at this. All right. This has always been a glove-first shortstop with no power, and all of a sudden, wham! So that's kind of interesting. Definitely a chunk of this year has been at AA, so it's a reason to be skeptical of it. I don't really know. I mean, he didn't do anything there, but the Somerset offensive environment I know nothing about. All right, so Hoyjun Park, how about that? I'm going to stash him away for the list. None of the Pigs performed. Columbus at Indianapolis. This is Cleveland and Pittsburgh. So a bunch of the recent Cleveland Pro acquisitions, Mercado, Jimenez, Daniel Johnson, Gabriel Arias, they are here. Nolan Jones still struggling. Wonder if they'll send him to AA at some point here soon. Arias 0 for 3. There's DJ, 2 for Andres Jimenez, 3 for 2, 2 for 3, hitting 280. Okay, Mercado 2 for 5. Tristan McKenzie down here, 5 and 1/3. So there's your check-in on some of the high-profile Cleveland guys. Just looking okay here. And then not a lot going on the Pittsburgh side of the ledger. Max Kranick only 1 strikeout in 4 1/3. That's kind of scary. Nick Mears back, another guy, big stuff, pretty wild. How's Wyman doing? 4.66. Okay. All right, Charlotte, Nashville. This is Milwaukee and White Sox. Nothing really happening offensively for the Brewers guys. Bettinger, who was up a little bit, has been an interesting sleeper arm in the past. Shorter outing here. Wonder what that was about. I guess it's just this was a doubleheader, maybe. Okay. Not a lot else happened in that one. Toledo and Memphis. Memphis didn't really hit in this one. Das Cameron 2 for 5 with a double. .290, .380, .450 so far for Daz. That's good. Hey, and Archie's home. Let's see what kind of shape he's in. Hey, pal. He seems totally fine. Maybe it wasn't him. He doesn't have a tuft on him. Our streak of good luck continues. His ear's just mangled. And that's excessive. His ear is beat up from being in fights with other cats in a way that's like, I look at pictures of him when he's little and he's got perfect ears. I'm just like, oh, my poor boy. Alex Lang, looked like nails during the spring and just hasn't been quite as good once the season actually fired up. So still waiting for him to really let it rip, man. He looks so nasty this spring. I really like Alex Lang too, man. He competes, but he's struggled. I don't know what's going on there. All right, Sacramento and Reno. This was a high-scoring affair as we cross the 1 hour mark. I've been doing this. This is it's an extra supersized version tonight. It's whatever. I was up late the last couple nights too, like having a good time in Tucson. So Bryce Jonathan continues to hit, huh? This is the guy who, back in the early daily prospect notes, talked about his swing change. Still has kind of, yeah, man, like, good for Bryce Johnson. It's continuing to be good. Maybe he merits an include on the list relatively soon. Although this is the PCL hitting environment, right? So good reason to be skeptical. Andy Young sent back down. Cripes, I haven't whiffed on trading, so I just remembered a thing I have to do. Humberto Mejia's at AAA now. Got shelled. That's not great. The D-backs, he's on the 40-man. They need all the help they can get. So having this guy, perform, he was doing okay last I looked. This is a rough start for him, though. Let's see. So did well at AA. At least from a strikeout to walk perspective, and then the first AAA start did not go well, but the D-backs are having a rough go. Matt Frisbee, another solid start. His last couple, I think, have been good, or at least 2 of his last couple have been pretty good. He's always been sort of interesting, but old for the level. Here he was with Richmond, so another name to kind of keep an eye on at the upper levels here. Should probably get a report on him soon. Let's see, Norfolk and Durham. Man, I watched the Tyler Zombro comebacker, and it's rough. It was definitely, perspective altering. The rest of the weekend, like any time I saw someone get hit by a pitch or whatever, like it's just my perspective on injuries changed. It was horrible, and good luck to that guy moving forward. Like, if people didn't know, this guy got hit with a comebacker in the temple. He falls face down, and the way he fell made me worried about his like spine. In addition to the comebacker hitting his temple, and then he starts to convulse in this really horrible way. It was awful. So my fingers are crossed that like just whatever, you know, where the ball hit him, I hope he can live a normal life. Wander Franco 2 for 4. You know, like what else do you say? But I hope Tyler Zombro can live a normal life. And that goes beyond, you know, all this other stuff that I'm about to talk about baseball-wise and stuff. Like, there's no easy way to transition to it, but it was horrible. It's like inevitable that something terrible like this is going to happen at some point. I don't know what to do about it. I think we've seen a lot of hitters hit in the face and pitchers hit with comebackers recently. Another guy took a comebacker to the face tonight. Eli Lingos with Cleveland. And it's scary, man. Like, I've seen it before. Olsen with UCLA. I think it's John Olsen was his name. UCLA, I was in attendance for a game where he took a comebacker to his face and, like, shattered his orbital bone. And it's horrible. And at some point, it's going to kill someone because it killed a base coach at one point. And so, I don't know. It's probably time for MLB to be like, hey, look, we know these hats look dorky, pitchers, but, like, you got to wear them so you don't die. You know, especially it's an underpaid minor leaguer. Like, you're gonna put him in this harm's way. Like, I don't know. It looks dumb, but what else are you gonna do? The kid's gonna die. Like, come on. All right, so you can see Wander Franco hit a couple times. Patino had a good outing. Yada yada yada. Iowa and Omaha. Yeah, McBroom 2 for 4, O'Hearn 2 for 4. I don't know. I like those guys still. Like, come on, hit. Isbell, come on, let's go, hit. Shit. All right, nothing else really going on. El Paso and Round Rock. Pretty generic over here. Oh, I'm racing my battery now. All right, pretty generic box scores. I'm just chugging away. Round Rock's 19-9 though. Sugarland also playing well as a team. This is Houston and the Dodgers guys, Oklahoma City. Luke Raley's back down. Brett Conine with a mixed start. Dennis Santana had a rough one. Vegas and Albuquerque here. This is pretty typical 20 hits Albuquerque game. Velati 1 for 5. Sam Hilliard triple 2 for 5. Greg Deichmann 3 for 4. Another good night for him. Grant Holmes had a rough one. It's just so hard to know. To look at the pitching box scores for some of these old PCL ballparks and like have a feel for what they're like at all. All right, Double A. Here we go, Double A. What if I did that for one of these? Like, hey, it's just me from wherever this sounds, where this dialect is from. I don't know. It's just sort of how I can. It's like easier on my throat to talk like this actually than it is to speak in my own voice. All right, Portland and Harrisburg. Yeah, not a lot going on here either, folks. Timmy Cate, a little bit of a bounce back from his last one, which was pretty rough. I guess this Northwest Arkansas game is probably suspended. I'm just gonna skip that box. Bowie, 21-7 is Bowie. Terran Vavra, my boy, 2 for 4. Joey Ortiz, 2 for 6. Another bomb. He homered a couple nights ago too. Adley Rutschman homered. That's his 8th. First base for him tonight, 2 for 3 with 2 walks. Let's set Rutschman aside. Yeah. Okay. Anything going on over here? Ellie Harris Montero, 2 for 5, hitting .216 though. He's a guy who's part of the Arenado return. I'm skeptical of him because of his approach. his body's yo-yoed. Here he is playing first base. You know, when I've seen him in shape, it looks like he can play third base, and when not, it does not look that way. And he's young, so I tend to think that, you know, by his prime, it'll probably trend toward first base, and then you're looking at a guy with a bad approach who plays first base. So I'm not an LA Harris guy, but he is talented. Redding, man, 6 for 24, pretty bad. Stott got the promotion, Bryson Stott from UNLV, their first rounder from a couple years ago. So at least there's a dude to watch there now. But like Daniel Brito and Vierling and these guys, like this group's got to do better, man. 6 and 24 is not going to cut it in baseball town. Connor Siebold will look good in baseball town right now, boy. Diego Castillo, interesting hitterish second base, undersized type guy for the Yankees. He's 23. He's at AA now, and hitting pretty well. So is not striking out. This guy's on the Yankees list too, I think, right? Yeah. Or no, he's omitted. Oh, that's probably a whiff on my part. He's at least interesting enough to have been in the extras for sure, just because historically he's been kind of hitterish and, you know, plays the middle infield. So typically the kind of guy, especially only 23, who I hold out hope for, even though he's not like a big prospect. But yeah, he's probably was worth being an honorable mention on the Yankees list here. You know, right? Realistic bench piece. It seems feasible. All right, Altoona and Richmond. Ji-Hwan Bae, 2 for 4. We saw him struggling early on, and now the line looks a little bit better just to see it here, like 270, 317, 375. If I'm looking at his splits, just, you know, 5 games in June has been white hot after a lousy May, so maybe I'll pull Bae aside here to talk about. There's a, you know, this guy's has a domestic violence thing, I guess. I don't know if you want to call it that. It's like he hit a girl in like a club a couple years ago when he's just, you know, douchey teenager. Can't do stuff like that. So he did that thing, and that's definitely a piece of like the way teams are looking at him. So, because, you know, you got to deal with that when we traded for this guy, and here's our press conference, and like, yeah, you're gonna have your feet held to the fire about that. You can't be doing that willy-nilly. Binghamton, New Hampshire. I smell weed. Samad Taylor, you know, up the middle guy. Here he is playing center field. Played second base in Australia over the winter. Can really run. Smaller guy. Here's Austin Martin. 2 for 4 tonight with a home run. His second home run for Austin Martin. Look at the flow, dude. All right. 260, 390, 411. Yeah, man, that's an Austin Martin Pro line. This is... So if I told you this is what it's going to be, how good is this guy? Doesn't really slug, but gets on base a ton. Like, this is what he's going to do, and I do think it's a big leaguer, but I don't know how much impact there's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a lot. And then it's about, like, how do you value a guy without a lot of impact who plays a premium position, I guess, you know, okay. Yeah, so I'm going to pull him aside, too. We'll talk about him and Rutschman. I think they're probably going to make tomorrow's notes. Tony DeBrell, a guy I like, another like of these Southeast Arms, Kennesaw State, man. Really good pitchability guy in college. 4 pitches, above average changeup, just a below average fastball with some angle to it, makes it play okay. Traditionally just an upper level org arm, but, like, you know, can take a turn for you if you need to. And the way the season's going, you need to. Like, the Mets have like 13 guys in the IL. I think it might be 14 now because of VR strained his hammy, right? So it's a weird time to run a baseball team. all these injuries. All right, Erie and Akron. Tyler Freeman's raking 350 at the top of this lineup. Push him. Let's see what happens. Riley Green, another guy, 2 for 4. Has settled in a little bit here. I think that it's right to let him continue at AA. They shouldn't knee-jerk AAA promote him. This guy's spring was unbelievable. I think he's a stud. I think he's a guy who, when we update the 100, probably moves up to the 60s. Not the 60s overall, like into the 60 future value tier. I think just he belongs there. Somewhere in there. I don't know how high. I think you can make the argument he's better than Torque. What am I doing? Deviating from the process. All right, so here we go. Arkansas, Wichita. 2 for 4 night for Jordan Cowan. Hitterish guy, up the middle, older. Not a whole lot with the Arkansas group here. Chris Valamont came over in the Sergio Romo deal from Miami. Vertical movement on his fastball. He has struggled, but 6 punch outs in 3 innings for him tonight. And a bunch of nothing really offensively over here on the Wichita side. Corpus Christi and Midland. You from Midland. Houston and the A's. Hunter Brown. 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. Starting to right the ship here after a really rough start for Hunter Brown. He had a rough spring. Hunter Brown is on my top 100, basically. He's just outside the 100, but anyone at the 50 future value is good enough to be on 100, in my opinion. So this is one of those guys. Monster stuff from a small school. Needs some player dev TLC to get this under control. The walks, but huge stuff. Still think even if he ends up in the bullpen that he belongs exactly where I have him on the 100. Because that's how I value those elite bullpen arms, which I think is what his fallback is. Biloxi and Montgomery. Bryce Terrell, 3 for 5. He's hitting, man. I backed off of him this offseason. He was in that 50 future value tier last year. And then this offseason, I was just like, I just don't think this guy, I think this guy's going to have like a 3 bat or whatever. Like, definitely has an approach and can really pick it, but the contact stuff with the length of his swing, how deep his load is, really scares me against big velocity. And I backed off, and he's proven me wrong so far. Like, he's hitting at AA. A bunch of 1-fers over here on the Rays side with Montgomery. Ethan Small, 5 2/3, 8 strikeouts. That's 2 really good starts in a row for Small. I'm going to pull him aside. I might pull Terang aside too. Yeah, Terang's a guy who maybe, I'll talk with KG and see if he feels comfortable moving him into the 100 here over the next couple of days. I think that's a thing that we want to talk about doing. Just he's hitting, I don't know. It's worth reevaluating at least if he belongs on there before the Brewers list comes out a couple days from now. That's weird. Why do I have a washed out box score on this page? There we go. That's normal. So nothing really happened. Here's Mississippi and Pensacola. This is the Braves and the Marlins. Not really anything going on offensively in this game. Another fantastic 5 perfect innings for Jake Eder, who I wrote about last week. Folks can look at that on the site. I still think ultimately he's a bullpen piece. This is excellent though, and he's totally dominating. So maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think he's a lefty bullpen piece and a pretty good one at that. But that's where I've got him evaluated, even though he's totally dominating as a starter in AA right now. And I'm sticking to that evaluation, I think. Did this one already? Okay. Been deviating from the process here. What am I doing? Amarillo and Frisco. D-backs and Rangers. Diospel Arias had a 3 for 5 day. I do like his field to hit, but the way he's shifted down the defensive spectrum is kind of a worry. Yerry Rodriguez only 2 innings tonight. That's kind of scary. I guess he did it last time out too. This is a guy who's been shut down with elbow stuff before, so him going from having thrown 4 innings to only throwing 2 is kind of not great. Kind of worry. I think there's a chance this guy's a multi-inning reliever anyway, but I do like him. This seems like a weird bullpen day. Did something happen? Like, to have Latz come in after him strikes me as odd. Latz has just been starting too. What did I miss? Like, this week, so Latz? Yeah, like, did something happen today? Oh, there was a rain delay. Okay. Okay. That's good. All right. That makes me feel better. All right, yeah, that explains why Tabor only threw an inning 2 for the D-backs guys. Okay. All right, fine. This Amarillo pitching, I mean, this roster is interesting because it's got Thomas 3 for 5 with the homer today, his third. It's got Perdomo 2 for 4, and a couple other bigger names like Jake McCarthy and Dominic Fletcher, who I'm not as big on as prospects. And then like all these arms are kind of interesting. Tyler Holton has a good changeup. Tabor's maybe a back end piece. Mac Lemieux's a lefty with an okay breaking ball. Luis Castillo is a side armor with slider feel, who I dig. And then Justin Lewis, who closed the game out, is like 6'8" with an above average changeup and below average other pieces. But that's an interesting roster if folks get a chance to check out Amarillo on the road. Oh, they played a doubleheader. And then there must have been rain in the middle of the country here, because that's it for the AA box scores that weren't postponed. So here's San Antonio and Springfield. Nolan Gorman, third base, 4 for 5. He's been white hot too, man. Good for Gorman. CJ Abrams, 2 for 5, hitting a cool 300 as a... Is he even 20 years old yet? Yeah, there you go. He's 20 now. At AA, this is a 20-year-old's line at AA after making a leap from basically the AZL to AA. So he's a special hitter. Here's Nolan Gorman. Let's take a look at the way this has progressed as well. Into June, 2 for, 0 for, 2 for, 3 for, 0 for, 4 for. And then like a bunch of multi-hit games here to close out May. After he got off to kind of a slow start here for the first half of May, he's really switched it on. So the strikeouts, 28 in 110 at bats, 124 plate appearances. He's going to have a 4-bat, folks, but if he can play second base, man, he's got real big power for a second baseman. So maybe we'll pull Gorman aside too, just because he's been performing at a sustained level for a while now. He's worth checking in on as well. Any arms do anything in this one? You know, Palante's pretty interesting. He might end up pitching in the back of a rotation too, Andre Palante. And the Cardinals push their guys, especially their college starters. So this is a 2019 fourth rounder from UC Irvine. This is basically his first full season, and they put him right in AA. And after some walk-happy outings early on, he started to perform. And here are those 4 walk outings early, and then these last few have been better. He's not really allowing any runs. He's pitched around trouble in some of those games, and like I said, you know, taking a mid-major guy and foisting him right to AA is that's pretty interesting. So that's going to do it for our AA box scores. I'm really running low on battery here. Let's see if I can hustle through these. If not, I'm going to have to pause here, which is fine. Actually, you know what? Let's pause here so I can charge. I'm going to show you. Here's an inning. I'm going to pick a good inning of Mike Mcgreevy, the UC Santa Barbara righty, who has a chance to go towards the back of the first round in the draft. Again, my look was not good. I want you to take a look and notice some of the arm slot variation here that's occurring on his curveball compared to his other pitches. His velocity is down in this outing. It's a lot of 91, 92, which you're about to see, as opposed to like sitting at about 4 and reaching back for some 6s and 7s, which is what he'd been just a couple weeks ago. So it was an interesting look. There was heat in there for sure. Like the White Sox scouting director, the Yankees had a national cross-checker there. In addition to like the Rays and A's having extra personnel, like there was plenty of that stuff happening too. So this is Michael Mcgreevy against University of Arizona's deep lineup and inning of Mcgreevy, and then we'll come back and do the A-ball box scores here after I charge this guy up. Hey, it's Eric coming to you from editing. You're going to want to turn your volume down before we get into the game footage here because it's loud. So just be forewarned. Take your volume down now. Take it back up to a level that suits you when the game footage starts to roll, and then take it back up to hear me talk afterward because like the contrast between me talking and the game audio on this video file here from this rowdy regional you're about to hear is pretty violent. So like you've been forewarned, headphone wearers, you've been warned.
Leading off for Arizona, center fielder, number 23, Dante Williams. batting first baseman number 17, Braxton second baseman number 1, Cato.
Box scores. Let's get these done. All right, so our mix going into the A-ball box scores is these dudes, just as a reminder. Oh, what did I do? All right, let's do the thing. So this was Hudson Valley at Wilmington. This is the Yankees at the Nationals. Eric Fetty rehabbing in Wilmington. Ken Waldachuk, an interesting sleeper. Smaller school guy from St. Mary's. Some interesting pitch characteristics. Now has 45 punch-outs in 24 innings. He still hasn't allowed a run. Just 10 walks during that time. Yep. It's just weird that we've got a bunch of Yankees worth talking about. Apologies for that. Rest in peace if you got headphones on. See, I've got Waldachuk all the way down here as like, hey, this guy's got a chance to like pop and become something. And I know it's just A-ball, and we're talking about a 23-year-old college guy, but looks like that's happening. So definitely a key guy to get a report on here soon. You can see the 2019 numbers in the Appy League were strong too. Yeah, the report. Oh, that's right, the Oswalds. Big extension. This is near top of the scale extension. I think that extension is more driving approach angle than important on its own. Like the perceived velocity thing, I don't think is important so much as I think that extension is creating angle, and that's the important thing. Yeah. So Giddy and Waldachuk are both playing well, so that's interesting. Else anybody do anything? Ozzy Peraza 2 for 4. He's played well. He's on the top 100. I feel really good about that. So game 2 of this pairing, 1 for 2 was Peraza and this guy with a double A. Ezekiel Duran 3 for 3 with a bomb. What did he do in the other games? He worth mixing in 1 for 3. 3 for 6 with a bomb is okay. We got some other guys that I think we're going to include rather than Duran, also on the top 100. Okay, Hickory and Aberdeen, pardon me. We approach 1 a.m. on the West Coast. Luis Angel Acuna 2 for 4. Jose Acosta homered. The Rangers list just came out on the site not long ago, so check that out. It's pretty deep. Org, pretty proud of that body of work there. He's a bug or a baby lizard or something. Okay, other game of this tilt. Toby Welk 2 for 3. Small school guy. Avery Williams, who came back in the Lance Lynn deal from the White Sox, 4 innings, 8 punchies, no walks. Good outing for him. Getting a college guy who didn't really perform in college. Blew up last fall at Instructs. Greensboro and Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem, the White Sox. Greensboro, the Pirates. Matthew Frazier, another U of A outfielder, homer, 2 for 4. Omar Cruz, who was in the Musgrove deal, 7 punch-outs for him in 5 innings. J.C. Flowers, a two-way guy in high school who closed at Florida State, mostly center field and close. 4 good bullpen innings for him. He remains pretty interesting, just a guy with a really, good body and arm action. Pardon me. Very sorry. It's the nature of the beast here, folks. Hey, wow, Wander Javier, 4 for. Good for him. Cedar Rapids lost to Fort Wayne, beat Fort Wayne. Jeepers. Johnny Hamza converted an infielder from Alaska, catching now 2 for 5. Augustin Ruiz 2 for 3 with a homer, 2 walks. Pretty good day for him. He's got 7 homers already. You can see he's only hitting 230, but this guy's got pretty good power for like a 22-year-old. He's only 21 still. Yeah, this is like a well-built guy from Mexico. Has always had like a well-rounded package of tools that are a shade below average, but a really good build. And, as he's filled out, so there's been a little bit more power. Obviously 26 doubles in 2019 indicates that there was some pop at that time as well. But, yeah, definitely a guy who looked like he had leveled up physically a little bit during the spring, and he's still on the Padres list in like the towards the bottom. He's my top guy out of this honorable mention group. Head of some bigger names. There's Hamza. So good start for him. Cornerback striking out this much, hitting 230 is kind of a concern, but we're just talking about a sleeper prospect here. Dayton and Lake County. This would be the Reds and Cleveland. Nothing really going on. Definitely some names in here. Here's Braxton Ashcraft, college arm from UAB. Very relievery, but a big line for him last night. 7 innings, 9 strikeouts. Doing fine so far. This is still like, for a 22-year-old. This guy's a reliever, Brooklyn and Jersey Shore, down the shore. Brooklyn, Antoine Duplantis, 2 for 4, hitting 276. Ronnie Mauricio, 1 for 4, home run number 6 for him. Bunch of one-fers on this side of the card. Nathan Fosnacht, homered. Kevin Gowdy, 7 punch-outs in 5 innings. Again, a guy coming back from a long layoff in part due to the pandemic and injury just sort of happening consecutively. So, not a bad start for Gowdy to his season. Graham Ashcraft, I see Braxton. Jeez. South Bend and Lansing. Jose Huma hitting in the 2-hole there. 2 for 4. Kobe Vance, 2 for 5. Only hitting 250 though. Colin Palouse, 10 strikeouts in 5 2/3. It's the first double-digit strikeout night I think we've seen. Here's Max Bain. Rough start for him. 5 punch-outs though. Throwing hard. Here's Yuri Ramos. Yuri Ramos has been in the box score a lot. This is another one of the Cubs guys who's throwing really hard. Saw him up to 99 this spring. Was like 91, 94 in 2019. And then was 97, 99, 95, 97. Sort of in that range. Those couple times I saw him during the minor league spring. You can see out of the bullpen in high A. He's certainly a little old for that. And this, by the way, this weight is not accurate. This guy's probably pushing 195 at this point. It's good weight. It's good weight. But doesn't have this sort of body projection left. It's there. The arm strength's there. His body is where you want it to be. So good start for him in relief in high A. They should push him soon. Palouse, man, like he's another guy who the A's have done a good job of taking some of these. Maybe there's a lot more mechanical violence with some of these college arms that they've been taking late, day 2, day 3. but they profile in relief. Like, their stuff is pretty good, and Palouse is another one. He'll be on the A's list here coming up. Actually, maybe I can, let's see if I can get I think what I'm going to do, because it's so late, is probably call it a night at some point here once I'm done looking through all the box scores and right in the morning, and that gives me some time to text someone who maybe has seen him and get a fresh Palouse report, since I'm working on the A's list is on the horizon anyway here, so it gives me an opportunity to knock out a blurb while I'm doing DPN, which is a pretty good way to go about doing it. Greenville and Asheville, nothing really happening here. Both teams kind of hovering around 500. Same here with Great Lakes and West Michigan. Spencer Torkelson has been hot lately, 2 for 3 last night. Good to see that. Good to see that we're not all totally stupid. Nathan Kirby back in this one here for West Michigan. Oft injured. Pretty sure this is Nathan Kirby, right? Chad Kirby? Chance Kirby. Just throwing pasta against the wall. Bobby Miller for Great Lakes. 1.26 ERA for first-round pick Bobby Miller out of Louisville for the Dodgers. Miguel Vargas continues to hit. He's at 325, 2 for 5 last night. James Outman, pretty toolsy guy. 2 for 5. Andy Pajes, 1 for 5 with another bomb. He's got 8 now. Ryan Ward, that's right. Yep. So yeah, Ryan Ward's off to a pretty decent start. Small school guy from 2019 draft, 8th round. Not the type of guy who I'm gonna throw on the list until it's stress tested against a promotion here. Probably 23-year-old guy feels right to sort of slow play that. Quad Cities and Beloit. Beloit would be the Marlins now. Used to be the A's, now is the Marlins. And then Quad Cities is the Royals. Asa Lacy, 2 walks, 4 innings, 4 strikeouts. Let's see what his pitch count looked like. 69 pitches, 43 strikes. That's fine. Zach McCambley and his wonderful curveball. 5 innings, 5 punch-outs. He's got a 3.48 ERA. And Biasi. This is Dante Biasi. Excuse me, from Penn State. Yeah, look at that. Peripherals are pretty strong. They have been in Pro Ball so far for old Dante. PSU baseball program. All right, good for them. I wonder how Biasi looks. This is a nice little outing for him, especially stacked against Lazy's outing. Looks pretty good on paper. Griffin Conine, 2 for 4, home run. Thomas Jones tripled in this one. Connor Scott's hitting okay. That's nice to see. This Quad Cities lineup I'd like to see doing a little bit better than this, though, especially Lofton. Nick Lofton from Baylor. Sandwich round guy. 3 walks for Tyler Gentry, who's got that Jordan Luplow vibe, righty corner power guy. With some strikeouts. Michael Massey had a back injury at Illinois in his draft year. I thought that was a nice pickup by the Royals. 2 for 4 last night, but only off to a 2.24 start in a ball. Peoria at Wisconsin. This is the Chiefs, I was going to say, the Cardinals and the Brewers. Jan Torres, 2 for 4 with 2 walks, hitting .310. That's big. Jan Torres, the Cardinals did a prospect challenge trade with the Indians. Sent Torres, or sent Mercado for Torres. Pushed Torres last year to, or not last year, 2019. Pushed him to full season ball as a teenager, and he flopped. Sent him back to extended for a little bit, I want to say, and then to the Appy League, and he righted the ship. And, skipping him over low A and right to high A this year, it's been a little bit of the same, where he started, the first week was not great, and then since then has steadily been climbing, hitting for a little bit more power here of late. Let's see, I thought he homered earlier this week, but no, it's really just been a bunch of doubles. So interesting to see. 21-year-old guy with a tight end kind of body, power, runs pretty well. Really performed for Cleveland on the backfield. So I thought was a pretty interesting pickup in that trade that the Cardinals made to diffuse some of that upper level outfield depth away. Chandler Redmond 2 for 5. He's an interesting name to know. Big time exit velos in the 2019 minors. This is another smaller school college guy, big body, second base, can like barely play there. Gardner Webb, but just had monster exit velos coming out of this 2019 Appy League season where he hit 12 bombs in 54 games. So he's an interesting sleeper to watch in the Cardinal system. Is Chandler Redmond rather. Okay, so Wisconsin, Garrett Mitchell back from injury, 2 for 3 with 2 walks, stole a base. This is, he shouldn't be at this level. Here's Thomas Dillard, 3 for 5. All singles for Dilly. Javon Ward hitting 350 down here. I think he's another guy who, it's that wide receiver build. I like Javon. I do think that, it's a low ball swing. I'm skeptical that it plays against upper level velo. And the peripherals are pretty concerning. Consider that this is what the line looks like. This is also like a BABIP regression candidate, I think, just based on looking at the broad strokes. But Javon Ward off to a hot start on the surface. Corey Howell, 4 strikeouts, 0 for 5, still hitting 304. This is a junior college guy from a couple years ago. Really fast, kind of plays all over the place. Really interesting. Potential role player, I think. This is another one where it's like, hey, this is excessive. This isn't really what it's like. But I do think he's an interesting prospect. The pitching side here. Jarvis walked a bunch of guys. That's a rough outing for him. Schlesinger. I feel like we've seen this name before. Jacob Schlesinger. 12th round. Logan Rogersville, Missouri. Okay. 23 walks. So that's right. This guy walks a lot of people, but has good stuff. That's right. Okay. Now I remember. All right, let's keep charging away here. Roman Bowling Green. A couple high A box scores to do yet. All right, so Rome is the Braves. Bowling Green is the Rays. Noah Cardenas, 3 for 5. He homered. That's number 7 for him. He's a trade acquisition from. Who did he come from again? Ruben Cardenas, not Noah. Jeez. That's right. It was Cleveland. Right. Hunter Wood, Christian Arroyo for Cardenas, a college performer guy. Fullerton. I saw him in college. He was okay. But again, let's see this guy get pushed. What else? Spencer Strider's been killing it. 8 punch-outs in 4 innings. Clemson, pop-up arm. There's more on him on the Braves list. It's still probably how I feel about him, but he's striking out 2 guys per inning, so probably belongs in an impact tier. Maybe as high as the 45s already, but it hasn't been that long. All right, so Tri-Cities and Spokane. This is Angels and Rockies. A lot of the Rockies' recent college guys. Ryan Feltner turned in a pretty good start. Change-up guy out of Ohio State. Brenton Doyle, 2 for 5. Would like to see them promote him soon. Brenton Doyle's got a chance to be a top 100 guy. Okay, Eugene and Vancouver. Giants and Blue Jays. Tanner Morris, 2 for 4. Let's check on this Horwitz guy who's hitting 280 here. I don't know anything about this dude. Adam Klopfenstein, 4 2/3, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Where'd it go? Spencer Horwitz, 23. Radford, 24th round. Really no power for first base. Just gonna move on. Seth Corey, 5 walks. Yeah. It's Seth Corey. It's one of the drawbacks. His stuff is good, but He walks, guys. All right, let's do low A. I'm tired. 1:06 a.m. here. I'll tap on the yogurt container and get Archie in the house and then call it a night. But of course, there were a bunch of doubleheaders, I think, in low A. How are we looking here? It's a bunch of games, but that's fine. I'm going to start back here on the far left. And let's do our thing. Let's do our baseball savant thing. Okay, game feeds. Okie dokers. So, box score. Nasim Nunez. They kind of have these. They need to flip the colors of these. Edward Cabrera back for the Hammerheads. This guy's rehabbing from a couple different injuries over the course of the last year and a half. He had a weird infection in his arm last year, and then I think he had shoulder stuff this spring, if I'm remembering correctly. Kind of scary, but the guy's got monster stuff, so he's a name to watch to send through the system on this rehab assignment. Definitely won't be down here for very long. Nothing really happening on the offensive side in this game at all. Let's look at the exit velos and see if anyone hit the crap out of one. Yep, Terry Fuller has big power. Signed out of high school over slot, but not for a lot of money. It was a ground out, though, of course. Victor Mesa Jr. hit a ball 104. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Pitch velocity-wise, let's look at Edward Cabrera. Actually, you can just go to the player breakdowns here. So Cabrera, sinkers in the 91-96 range, touches 7. One of these feels like it was a splitter or something, or a misrelease. I think, yeah, there are definitely. Let's go back to this here because there for sure are changeups in this mix. So these sinkers, the stuff that's being called a sinker down here, these are changeups. Like the system has to be told what these are, and so these are for sure changeups. Curveball got one swinging strike. That's all. And so you can see this guy, you know, big stuff from an arm strength standpoint, basically sitting 96 to 98 and no swings and misses on it, just this one. One here and then 2 on the breaking ball. Is that it? Yeah, all right. So big velo, but it's a lower slot. It's tailing action. It runs into barrels. You know, it's suboptimal. It's suboptimal, even though this guy's definitely got good stuff, and I think he's a piece. It's just like, what kind of piece is it realistically? It's not like a top of the rotation guy. You got to miss more than 4 low A bats in a game. MT Johnson, we've talked about him before. So, you know, this group with Tena, Paniagua, they've been sort of interesting and performing, although walking people this whole time. Yerry Rodriguez is a name that I haven't seen before, though, but, you know, from a swing and miss perspective, not a lot was happening in this one. So, interesting that Cabrera is rehabbing, but I think that this is, you know, further evidence that his stuff is visually explosive, but doesn't perform the way you think. So who's this guy? Brent Hedrick, 23, Illinois State, 9th round, 30 punch outs. Okay, so, you know, it's a college arm at low A, but he's performing. Definitely got to watch. 11 strikeouts is a lot. I don't know anything else about him. Oh, I guess, well, there's a way to learn that, isn't there, dummy? This way. Okay. Holy cripes. 26 swings and misses in 5 innings. Wow. So 18 whiffs on the fastball. He sat 87 and 91. This is a lot of spin for a fastball that only plays that way. This guy got 26 swings and misses, dude. That's unreal. All right, Archie's home again. You all right? All right. Was this game broadcast anywhere? I gotta see this guy. Brent Hedrick. So Twins Daily did something. So folks can go watch this. They talked about him. I just want to see what it looks like when he throws a baseball. I mean, this is pretty strong in a small conference, these numbers. 2 not great years and then 1 quite good year. 6'6", 227. What do I have on him from 19? See if we can learn anything about some of these underlying characteristics from 19. Nothing. Was he in Pro Ball at all? Where did this page go? In 19? Yeah, so Elizabethton, he only played at the end, so that's why I don't have data. He only got a couple innings. It just wasn't enough to pull and make it worthwhile. I mean, this is what we have now, right? Like, these are all his fastballs in red, so he lives in this part of the zone. He's a lefty. So this is like cut and carry type. Big spin for the velo. Like, I really want to see it. I want to see what the angle looks like. 26 swings and misses, dude. Is there a way to watch it? Fort Myers, come on. Has this guy played at Bradenton? Yeah. Alright, let's see what this looks like. It's worth checking out what this looks like. 26 swings and misses. Alright, so this guy started this game at Bradenton. Let's check it out.
First pitch is a fastball a bit high, 235 pounds.
All right, digging it.
The wind of the toss, 1-0, swung on it, foul back our way, over the press box. It's 1-1.
All right, so this guy's using substance, so we're going to have a pretty static camera shot here from the center field camera at this ballpark. So watch what this guy does with his thumb between pitches. He's feeling in that belt buckle and then touching his forefinger and middle finger to his cap. And this is a pretty common.
Tall left-hander peers in over the top of his glove. The 2-1 offering skips into the dirt for ball 3.
There's him
Bradenton getting into the win column last
belt,
night.
and then there's him touching the final his cap, score. And you're putting 2 different substances
and in doing
on
so, the Marauders avoided what has been a rarity in their franchise history. 3-1 pitch, Dixon swings and fouls it back. Rare has been the season in which the Marauders
like you watch these guys,
lose 3 games to begin the year. In
Bauer
fact,
and a lot of
it's
the guys
happened only
feel
twice
into their belt
since the
buckle a lot.
Marauders
Bauer
began
feels
playing in
into the heel of his
2010.
glove with his thumb. He's not a belt buckle guy.
Wind up in the 3-2. Dixon swings and chops one foul.
They don't touch their
The last time the Marauders went 0-3 to
to
start a season was in 2015. They won that fourth game though.
Keeping them separate. You know, to watch this guy,
2013 was a particularly rough start. They lost 8 in a row
swings and misses
to begin
in the
that
start,
season.
or 26 swings and misses in the start.
Avoided any
21
sort
was
of big
fastball.
losing streak to begin this year, though. 3-2 pitch, skips in the dirt and gets away a few feet from the catcher Morales. Junior Severino, a third pitch to Hudson Head, is taken a 0-1 toss. Breaking ball. The speedster pulled the trigger and then the knocks after the leadoff walk.
This guy dominated tonight. Is it just that random? Like the lineup
Stretch
he faced
at
sucked
the
or something?
chest. And the pitch, Dixon bluffs off of first.
Strike. Trying to sync up timing-wise with these 15-second
And he
cuts.
delivered an RBI double on opening night, Tuesday.
Man,
Wednesday, took one deep out to right field for his first home run of the year. 1-0 pitch is a bit high and outside. 2-0 pitch to him, swing and a miss. Looks like he behind home plate. 2-1 pitch, Dixon not moving. Rodriguez swings in off first base. Good sized lead being held on by Sabato in the pitch.
It's not crazy. Like, there's the slot.
There goes Dixon for second as the pitch is swung on and lifted to right center field. Should be playable. Right fielder Cabrera back, reaches up and makes the catch. Oh man, a long run back for Dixon. Here's the throw into first. It's on a couple of bounces and not.
This is a good broadcast.
On Wednesday night. First pitch to him, he shows bunt by former Twins catcher Steve Holm. 1-0 pitch, there goes Dixon, swing and a miss. Nope. Hedrick calls the town of Braidwood, Illinois, his home. Just about an hour drive or so outside of Chicago.
Watch this guy against Campana.
The 1-1 pitch. Campana takes 3 years and golfed for 2 years.
Two-plane sweeping action on it. It's not a bad breaking ball.
He sets and the 1-2 toss way up and outside. Hedrick looks in, standing tall on the mound.
Angle. That had some tail action.
Love against his chest. Now he comes set. Long look at second base of the 2-2 pitch. Campana takes strike 3 called.
Whoa,
outside corner. Well, the automated ball strike system is in effect tonight again. A late strike call as Campana.
All right, whatever. I don't know. It doesn't. It's not blowing me away. All right, Tampa and Lakeland. Let's do this. Our guy again. Austin Wells is only in low A, 2 for 3. A little bit of a slow start for him, but double last night. Trevor Howard, 2 more walks. He's reaching base a ton still. Luis Severino threw in this game. Pettway threw 3 good innings in this game. Severino, I think, was like another guy who was like 4 to 8 rehabbing here. Okay. Luis Severino up to 98 in rehab. Pettway still throwing really hard. Not missing a lot of bats with other stuff, but throwing hard, it's good. Nick Quintana hit a ball hard. That's good to see too. All right. Cats, there will be yogurt soon, I promise. Down east versus Carolina. Evan Carter 1 for 4, 2 walks. It was a home run, his second. Only hitting 213, but probably reaching base at a big clip. That's the thing about him that stands out, apart from the rest of his skills, is the ball strike recognition there. The breaking ball recognition with Carter is unbelievable, but from a physical tool standpoint, it's just okay. Cody Freeman converted catcher, 3 for 3, 2 walks. Did he go deep? No. Still a good day for him, though. Okay, Keith Ron Moss up there playing second base, 2 for 5. He homered. Nothing really interesting going on in the pitching box score. Bradenton at Dunedin. Nothing really going on. Naswell Paulino has been okay down there. 4 walks for him is a lot. Adrian Florencio, we've seen, is absolutely shoving. 6.6205. You can see just, sub 1 ERA every time we look around. He's got a good line in there. He's another one where you go to the Savant and the data is like not blowing you away. He's maybe another one to check out a Bradenton stream at some point and see what it really looks like and how he's coming by the success such an extreme way. Fredericksburg and Delmarva. Fredericksburg is bad. Obviously 8-22. Nothing really going on in this game. Kannapolis and Fayetteville. This is White Sox and Astros. Another one, pretty generic looking box score. Yep, nothing really going on. We're in our home stretch here, low A box scores. Thanks again for joining me. Darius Vines, 5 innings, 5 punch outs, just the 2 runs. He's another guy who I'd like to see promoted before I juice him, but he's on the Braves list. People can check out the Braves list at this site to read about him. He's an interesting sleeper. Abiazel Ramirez, bowling ball type of second baseman. Looked okay only in Australia. Has been a low-level performer throughout his career. Off to a pretty good start here, 2 for 5. Heriberto Hernandez, 1 for 3 with 2 walks. He's striking out a bunch, but is reaching base and hitting for power. Who's the Alexander guy? Hill Alexander. Yeah, he's 24. Okay. Next. Oh, my posture's been terrible for like the last 20 minutes. All right. Salem and Lynchburg. Gilberto Jimenez is hitting .308, 2 for 5 last night. Caught stealing only for the second time this year. Jack Scroshan's catching. Okay. Jack Scroshan's numbers are good. Again, like college guy in low A. Nick York, 250. I think that's okay so far, but he wasn't my cup of tea. Lenny Torres, not a great start for him. Just 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned, 2 strikeouts only. Visalia and Fresno, this is the D-backs and the Rockies. How about some good news for the D-backs? 2 for 4. Night for AJ Vukovic. Liam Norris, 6 walks and 2 2/3. Okay. How about Zach Bean? 2 walks, 0 for 2. Okay. Again, pretty generic looking box scores here as we close out the evening. Diego Cartaya, 2 for 4 with 2 bombs. All right, Cartaya. This is probably Kendall Williams, 8 punch outs in 4 innings. Guy they got from Toronto for Ross Stripling last year. Another relief look just because of all the violence in the delivery. But there's arm strength, there's a breaking ball. Jose DeCachea, Tucson area high schooler who the A's did overslot a couple years ago. Looked good this spring, rough outing for him. He's struggled lately. Francisco Morales continues, or what am I doing? This is not Francisco Morales. Legal Sonora is the Padres, bro. Robert Hassel, 2 more doubles, 3 for 5, hitting .280. Uribiel Angeles, who hit all spring, 3 for 5, hitting .287 early on here. Again, keep in mind this is a Cali hitting environment, but Angeles is an 18-year-old playing shortstop in full season ball, hitting .287 right now. So if the Padres want to add, that certainly is a combination of things that model-driven teams I think are going to be into. The visual evaluation of Angeles is pretty vanilla, but he is hitting though. He does have feel to hit. So Casey Martin, 2 for 4 for the Clearwater Threshers. What's his line looking like? This is a guy who is as tooled up as they get. 70 or 80 run, power, bat speed. Just has no idea what he's swinging at. 12 walks. Okay, this isn't bad. was a big swing by the Phillies to take that guy. Wow, 4 walks for Baron Radcliffe, who's playing left field. Only hitting .097 so far, but 4 walks and a bomb last night for the Tortugas. Alan Cerda, 2 for 5 with a bomb. Okay, and our last one for the night. Modesto and San Jose. Noelvi Marte, 2 for 4. He's hitting .302. Another guy who's prominently on the 100, but maybe should just be higher. Like, he's really talented. Should maybe be close to Luis Matos, 2 for 5. Double. Marco Luciano doubled in this game. Ricardo Genovese was 2 for 5. Robinson Layer was 3 for 4. Kyle Harrison, 4 walks in 4 innings, still running a sub-3 ERA, even though he's walking a bunch of guys. And that's it. That's going to do it. So let's take a look again at our candidates. Cody Freeman, catcher convert guy. His brother Tyler is one of the better prospects in the Cleveland system. Cody was a middle infielder in high school and early as a pro, but here within the last little bit he's converted to catching. So interesting long-term project there to see how that goes. Diego Cartaya, one of the high-profile signings from a couple years ago out of Venezuela, has, like, you know, he's a Salvador Perez clone, basically. Power, has that body, impact, arm strength, and field general. Some of the other defensive stuff is below average because this is such a big young guy, and some of the lever length stuff is gonna challenge him from a contact perspective, but just here early on at Rancho, he's killing it. So that's good to see. He's a potential top 100 guy a year from now for sure. Augustin Ruiz I talked about earlier. Graham Ashcraft I did as well. Here's Colin Palouse, Waldachuk. We'll touch on most of these guys at some point during the process here. Ethan Small, I actually have an updated report. Someone who sent me notes from Small's last start. Hey, buddy, I'm going to give you yogurt in a second. Archie's biting my calves. So maybe he'll make it just on the strength of me having fresh notes, but then I don't want to double up with Brewers here with Terang, who might deserve to be in anyway. Austin Martin, I think, will be interesting to touch on after, his line looks the way it does now after about 100 at-bats. Ji-Hwan Bae, we talked about at the Open. What else is there to say about that guy? I think I have a pretty good. We touched on everyone who might be a candidate for tomorrow's daily prospect notes. So again, if you're catching this video on YouTube, my name is Eric Longenhagen. I write for Fangraphs.com. I'm our lead prospect analyst, and I write daily prospect notes typically like 4 times a week, and do like the prospect list. There's a lot of content over there. If you like the site, consider a membership. It's our full-time job. So also got video and stuff from the games I've been at. Hope you guys have enjoyed another screen record edition of Sunday's Daily Prospect Notes Gathering, and I'll see you guys next week.